Brewers have a few needs here in the offseason. Their biggest need, though, is they need a bat in the middle of that lineup, someone who's going to get home runs. We're going to tell you why next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey everybody, good to have you along here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day, the number one sports podcast network out there. My name is Chuck Freimund, longtime sportscaster, proud host of Locked On Brewers. Coming up on the show, Doug Russell is going to join us, sports director of the game. Statewide network, does a great job, midday host as well. We'll ask him, we'll talk about the biggest need for the Brewers, how bad they need a bat in that lineup. Also, do the Brewers have enough pitching or could they use more? And the division is theirs for the taking, at least going into the Thanksgiving holiday. Doug Russell joining us, a longtime colleague, friend as well. DR, I got to tell you something right off the bat. Late May, you and I were on the podcast together. I don't get a lot of guests during the season, mostly in the off season. And I asked you, I said, well, the division title's pretty much lost. And there were 6.5 games up. And you were the one who said, what do you mean? That's only 6 and 8. We got a lot of baseball to be played. Yeah. And I feel like from the moment you said that, the Brewers took off and the Cubs went the other way.
Well, they were clearly listening to the show, of course, because
you remember saying that.
Well, of course I remember it because I have for so many years written this team off in April. And I stopped doing that a couple of years ago because I had been proven wrong over and over and over again. And they got off to a bad start to the season. The first 4 games of the season, they got blown out, right? Especially those 3 games against the Yankees where they just got obliterated. I think they had a minus 35 or 36 run differential. But the good news is they only had 158 games to make that up. And they did. And so when you've got a season that's 162 games and you've got the talent, you've got the leadership that this team has, I'm just not ready to write them off, especially in a division that maybe isn't as strong as some would like it to believe. I know the Reds made it to the postseason. I know the Cubs made it to the postseason this year as well, but neither one of them got very far. And the Brewers at least got to the NLCS. Didn't get very far in that series, but I do think that this is a team that's got some talent, and I'm not ready to write them off because I've been proven wrong so many times. So I'll preach that to anyone who will listen.
Yeah, and I hear you on that. And I preached during the regular season, okay, once they started getting on a roll, that this team is a championship level, the best team in baseball, and they can get away without having a big bat in their lineup. I think I was wrong on that. Do you find the need that they need to get themselves a big bat here in the offseason for that lineup?
Do they need a big bat? No.
Yeah, someone someone's going to poke a few home runs.
There were 2 teams that scored over 800 runs in Major League Baseball this year. One of them was the Brewers. The other one was the Dodgers. That's it. Nobody else scored over 800 runs. The Blue Jays came close. I think they had 798. The Brewers had more runs than anybody in baseball except for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I'm not going to say that they need this, that, or the other thing. Would you like to have a guy who had 35, 36, maybe 40 home runs? Sure, that'd be great. I just don't think they need it with the way that Pat Murphy manages this team. They're always going to try to take the extra base. They're always going to try to force the issue. They're going to play aggressive ball. They're going to steal bases. They're going to hit and run occasionally. They're going to have a sacrifice bunt when nothing else is working. And we haven't seen that from a Brewers manager in a long time. And the last 2 years that Pat Murphy has been there, he's been the manager of the year. Matt Arnold has been the executive of the year because they find these hidden gems. They're not going to go out and spend, $40 million on a big bat, or even $30 million, or even $25 million on a big bat when what they're doing has worked. Would you like to see more October success? Of course you would. Absolutely. But so would 29 other teams that aren't named the Dodgers in the last couple of seasons as well. So do they need a big bat in the lineup? No. Would it be great to have? Sure. Is it realistic to think that they're going to go out there and do something that's out of their character? Probably not.
Not a blockbuster deal. I was talking the other day about on a podcast, if they could go out there and make themselves a blockbuster deal. You'd have to give something up, but you're trading Contreras, but you're giving up that. But I'm wondering if they could go out and maybe find themselves a third baseman, but you're trading Peter to get Paul, right?
Sure. I mean, what are you going to do to give up to go get a third baseman? The third baseman that they had this year, Caleb Durbin, was one of the Rookie of the Year finalists, right? And he came over to trade last year for Devin Williams, and Caleb Durbin was just fine over there at third base. They find these guys. Andrew Vaughn. Who would have thought that Andrew Vaughn would have been one of the most steady players positively for this Brewers team? I mean, forget when the season began, because obviously he was with the White Sox, but then after the Savali trade, he came over, and this is someone who is a former Silver Spikes winner. This is someone who had an amazing college career, but just needed a different situation. And how many times have we seen that in Major League Baseball, or any sport for that matter? You are a highly thought of prospect. You're a top 5 overall draft choice, as Andrew Vaughn was, got into a situation that just didn't work out. You need a change of scenery, and then you come and fulfill your promise. What Andrew Vaughn did last year isn't out of the ordinary, isn't out of the realm of possibility. It's not like he came from nowhere. This was top 5 overall pick in Major League Baseball draft. So I'm not shocked by it. I'm not surprised by it. The Brewers are able to, for whatever reason, unlock some of these guys, and oftentimes at bargain basement prices. So yeah, I think we all want to see Mark Atanasio write a big check and open up the wallet and, say that you can come in here and, make a big money contract with the Brewers and lead them to a World Series championship. I just don't think that's realistic. Not that the World Series isn't realistic. You should always shoot for that, with especially as much success as Milwaukee has had. But again, this is a team that scored over 800 runs last year, and only one other team, the World Series champions, scored over 800 runs. I don't think they need a big bat. I really don't.
Back to Vaughn. The one thing, and I'm not saying you're wrong, with Vaughn, he didn't hit another home run from August 15th to the postseason.
You're right.
And I'm wondering, and I was all in, and he was great. He got off to a great start. Should we be all in on it at Vaughn at first base? They re-signed Bowers.
Well, they re-signed Bowers.
They re-signed Bowers, but you think we should be all in? I mean, is this guy ready to?
What does all in mean, though? What does all in mean? Does that mean that you're going to sign him to a 6-year contract worth $100 million? If that's all in? No, you don't do that. You ride him out. You hope for a little bit more consistency down the stretch. Yeah, he did get off to that great start, but I think that he played well enough and came up with enough big hits that you can afford to put him out there while you've got him under team control, because you do have him under team control.
And that's the big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned they signed Jake Bowers for a 1 year, $2.7 million deal that avoids arbitration. I think he provides that good lefty bat. So when Vaughn faltered down the stretch, that's when Bowers picked it up. I mean, his OPS in September was over 1. And I think his postseason was just a tick under that. It was in the 9s. So what those two guys were able to do was stem the tide. So at a price that the Brewers can afford. And if they can keep unlocking these guys, it's Moneyball, just in a different era and in a different way of playing Moneyball.
It is. And I do like Vaughn. And I'm hoping, I mean, wouldn't it be great if that guy turned out to be a really, really good player? The player that we all thought when the White Sox drafted him. We saw.
Yeah, I mean, the only people that don't want that to happen are White Sox fans. So sorry, Pope Leo. But other than that, yeah, I mean, he's been on this great run, and since he's gotten to Milwaukee, and a lot of guys just need a different change of scenery. Just need to wake up in a different town, go to a different clubhouse, wear a different uniform, have different teammates. Sometimes you just shuffle that deck a little bit, and that's the refresher that a lot of guys need over the course of whatever sport they choose to play in their careers.
Russ, what do you think it is about people coming to Milwaukee? And Contreras had written this in the Players Tribune that, initially he didn't want to come to Milwaukee. He goes, Milwaukee, but then they come here and they love it. What is it about Milwaukee? What is it about this organization here?
I've asked that question to a lot of guys, and they all say the same thing. They all say that it starts with Murph. Mm-hmm. So I'll take them at their word, but I also think there's a lot of other things that are great as far as comfortability, because Milwaukee is easy to get around, relatively speaking, compared to other major league cities. Certainly more easy to get around than Los Angeles or New York or San Francisco. Cost of living doesn't really matter for older players because they've made millions of dollars, but for some of the younger players, maybe it means a little bit more. The Brewers are very family oriented, very family friendly. You see kids all the time when you're you've been in the tunnel. You see all the kids that are down there that are waiting for their dads to come out of the clubhouse at the press conference with Murph. I mean, that's a great example of it. I mean, I know that there are some, maybe, I don't know how, listen, this is not any shade on Tom Hardercourt. I'm just wondering what he'd say when he'd see all of Murph's kids up at the podium after every game. Tom retired a few years ago as the outstanding beat writer.
I think he'd play along. I mean, he's old.
He might. Yeah, he's old school, but I don't know. So I have asked this question of a lot of Brewers players, and they all say that it starts with Pat. So I'm gonna defer to them for that. But I also just think that there's a comfortability factor in Milwaukee. Summers in Milwaukee, as you know, are spectacular. You've got the lakefront. You've got good weather. It's just it's a comfortable city it's a clean city for a lot of these guys to live in as well. And that's what a lot of them are looking for. When Brandon Woodruff said that it was an easy decision for him to come back, I mean, it's because their kids have grown up here. His wife, Joni, loves Milwaukee. So yeah, players just have this, okay, I can relax, I can breathe here, and I'm not under maybe the media spotlight and under the thumb of the media that some of these other places are, like in Boston or Philadelphia. A lot of the East Coast cities have this just intensity. Like if you strike out 3 times in a game, you're some sort of pariah. You don't get that in Milwaukee. And I think a lot of guys respond to that.
Russ, hang on. The Brewers have enough pitching. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Game Time, one of our terrific sponsors here of Locked On Brewers. Hey, whether you're going to a Brewers game, a Bucks game, Packers game, concert, you name it, comedy show, Game Time. I use Game Time, the Game Time guarantee. You always get 100% authentic tickets. No frauds there, delivered on time, the best price. All the fees are included. So it's not you're going to go and buy these tickets, and as you go along the way, you get to the end of the checkout line, and you're going to see, wow, that's not what I want to pay for these tickets. Game Time doesn't do that to you at all. You'll love the zone deals as well. You pick a section, and Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. And, of course, you get under 2 hours before the start of that event. You're going to save big as well. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $20 off. Again, you're going to find tickets for any kind of event you want on there, whatever it is. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download the Game Time app today. But use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB for your first purchase. $20 off, $70 worth of tickets, $50. You're good to go. Swipe, tap, ticket, go download Game Time today and get started. Our guest today, Doug Russell from 97.3 The Game, sports director there. The game here in the network on the entire state of Wisconsin. Russ, Brewer pitching. Before we get to the entire staff here in the rotation, how did you feel about Woodruff picking up his qualifying offer of $22 million?
Not surprising. I think that for him, and they could sign him to, a 2 or a 3 year contract and maybe have a lower average annual value. But I don't know that he was going to get more than that out on the open market. He's got one chance to earn one last contract if it's going to be like a 3 or a 4 year deal, considering his injury history. When he's out there, he's great. We all love him. He has been and has represented the ball and glove so well in the time that he's been here. But again, if you're going to have a horse, you want to ride that horse into September and October. And he's been kind of snake bitten with injuries. It's been unfortunate. But I don't think there's a team that's out there, even if it's a big money team that can afford to take a flyer on a guy like a Woody, whether it's the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, even the Cubs. I know that there's the obvious relationship there with Counts, but nobody's going to take that chance on somebody who hasn't shown that he can pitch deep into the season. And again, it's unfortunate, but as good as he is, and he is really, really good when he's on the mound, he's not good when he's unable to get out there, when he's sitting on the bench, when he's got, the jacket on his arm in the bullpen or in the trainer's room or in the dugout. So that's why he signed. That's why he came back. And it's a put up or shut up year kind of for him if he's going to get that long-term deal or longer term deal. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he's not going to get more than 3 years considering his playoff or his unavailability in the playoffs history the last couple of years. So, if he can squeeze another $50 million out of his arm for his career for a kid from Tupelo, Mississippi, I think that'll probably set him and his eventual grandkids up for life.
Yeah, I would think so. And 33, you're right. He's not going to get any longer than a 3-year deal. And he talked about how the only thing I don't want to see is, we're questioning whether or not Woodruff is he going to be available for this start? When's he coming back? One of those things. The fact that he did not end the season healthy, you said when healthy, he's great. That's my only deterrent on this.
That is the only deterrent. That's the only deterrent that anyone would have. That's the only deterrent that if he were to be allowed to get out there on the open market, that's the only deterrent that the Dodgers would have, or the Giants would have, or the Angels, or the Mariners, or the Cubs, or the Mets, or the Yankees. That's the only deterrent that there is that exists for Brandon Woodruff. Even if he went to, somewhere closer to where he grew up, the Atlanta Braves, they don't want to bring in a guy who is someone who hasn't been able to pitch into September. So again, he's a great pitcher, super duper guy. Everybody loves him. But again, he's going to have a comfortability in Milwaukee that he's not going to get, and a longer rope that he's going to get in Milwaukee that he's not going to get anywhere else.
Now, knowing that maybe there was a multi-year deal out there for him, do you think the Brewers might have played their cards wrong? Because they're trying to save a buck. They could have got him for a multi-year deal for maybe for $20 million.
Oh, I don't know about that. If the number was that low, he might have walked somewhere else. It's hard to say. I'm so less concerned about how the Brewers spend their money. I mean, it's a 1-year deal for $22 million. I'm never going to get worked up over anything that's just a 1-year deal, no matter how much it is, because you're not on the hook for it for seasons on end. It's one and you're done. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If he gets hurt again, you feel badly for Brandon, but it's not going to hamstring the team or anything like that. So I'm not overly concerned about that.
That said, I think the pitching rotation looks great. I do think Freddy Peralta is staying here.
Oh, I do too. I mean, again, it's just a 1-year deal for Woodruff. If it were a multi-year deal, if they would have signed him to what you were talking about, perhaps like a 2 or a 3-year deal, I think that Freddy Peralta probably would be certainly on the trading block, if not perhaps almost assuredly gone. By the time that we next speak, or whenever that is, we'll be talking about, we'll be breaking down the Freddy Peralta trade and whether or not the Brewers got enough for him. So yeah, I think that it makes it more likely with a 1-year deal with Woody that Freddie's going to stick around, and we'll see how the season goes. If the Brewers are where they are usually in September, when the trading deadline rolls around at the end of July, I would imagine that they're going to roll the dice and see what they can get in terms not of another player, but in terms of how far they can get in the playoffs, because whether it was Prince Fielder in 2011, whether it was Willy Adames last year, what this team has shown, and more for position players than pitchers, just based on what we've seen, they'll roll. They're not afraid to roll the dice a little bit and get, instead of a player back, get a draft pick back in return. They've been drafting a lot better than they have, in recent years than they did, kind of between Jack Sarancic and Todd Johnson. So I feel pretty good about whether or not Freddy Peralta is back, whether they get prospects or if they wind up getting a draft choice for him and just kind of let his contract ride out.
I think we both agree. Yeah, the bullpen now. The starting rotation looks great. The bullpen, there's some thought that maybe they might trade Trevor McGill. Who knows? Is he the closer, or do you think Abner Uribe might take over that closer?
It's competition, right? Because it was Trevor McGill. He was an all-star this past year, but then he got hurt, and Uribe came in and did such an incredible job, especially, down the stretch and then into the postseason against the Cubs as well. So competition's a good thing, right? I love Trevor McGill. I love the fact that he's big. I love the fact that he can bring the heat, but I don't know. Abner Uribe did really an incredible job when he needed him to. So I'm going to let that one play out.
Yeah, I think the pitching is just so good on this team. It was all year. I think it's under.
That's how you win 97 games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the offense at times, obviously it faltered out in the postseason against the Dodgers, but the pitching is, I think they got one of the top pitching rotations in baseball again with those 4 guys right there. You throw the Miz and Priester in there.
Sure. And that's why you don't trade Freddy Peralta. And with the Miz, I think that, it's some growing pains. He still got off to an incredible start, of course. Had some growing pains after that, came back down to earth. But again, a lot of pitchers get batted around a lot when they first get to the major league. So I think his sophomore season in the majors is going to be beneficial. Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. But again, I don't know that there are that many holes on this team. They don't have a lot of home run hitters. Okay, they just find different ways to manufacture runs. They don't have a Cy Young Award candidate. Well, because they don't have a guy named Paul Skeens. I think Freddy Peralta in any other year would have garnered at least a little bit of consideration, but Skeens is just so dominating. Unfortunately for him, he's on such a terrible team that he only had, I think he was 10-10 this year, but and the Brewers hit him pretty well. But other than that, he's almost unhittable. So yeah, you need more than just one player. And that's one of the things that I like about the Brewers is that they rely on all 26 guys to, kind of pull their own weight. And it's fun to watch. This team, if nothing else, is a joy to watch because they will use all 27 outs. Even if they don't win every game, and nobody wins every game, they're going to battle and claw and scrape and, bite your kneecaps, to use a Dan Campbellism, just to try to eke out as many wins as they can with the 27 outs that they get every game.
Oh, that entertainment. Yeah. I mean, because they were winning every night. They were fun to watch, as you mentioned. And it didn't work out like we wanted, but I enjoyed my summer watching one of the more fantastic summers of watching Brewer baseball I can remember. Just how fun every night.
It was absolutely. We've all seen in recent years that, okay, you get down 4-0 in the third inning, and it was like, okay, might as well, what else is on right now? Because it just kind of seemed like the bats went to sleep. I don't know if it's the approach that Murph has. I don't know if it's the makeup of the guys in the clubhouse. Maybe it's a combination of all of that. Don't turn any of these games off until the last out, because baseball doesn't have a clock, and the Brewers appreciate that because they will not allow the clock to run out. And that's, again, you want the October success. We all do. But god dang it, this team's fun to watch.
Who is the team that we should be looking at in the rest of this division to maybe try to trace who was going to try to chase the Brewers down? Is it going to be the Reds? Is it going to be the Cubs? Who? Not the Pirates, certainly. The Cardinals. We'll get to that coming up next with Doug Russell here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. We're brought to you in part by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. NBA is back. No better way to get in on all the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game, you can ride it out with their live betting. FanDuel's got terrific live betting. Let's say your team that you want down a few points, you're going to get better odds. And they make it so easy, so user-friendly. Right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when that first $5 bet wins. You put that $5 bet win, it hits, man, $300 in bonus bets is coming into your account very, very fast at FanDuel.com. And you can use it any way you want. So sign up, play your game with FanDuel. FanDuel.com, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And next week, this week, I should say, and the next couple of weeks, man, it's just bowl games are going on. You got college basketball tournaments, NBA, NFL, rivalry weekend, you name it. Everything is going down. FanDuel, get in on the action and take advantage of their offer at FanDuel. Chuck Freimund along with Doug Russell here on Locked On Brewers. Final couple of minutes. Doug, just tell me what you think of this division. Who do you see got a shot at chasing the Brewers down? The Cubs are 5 games out.
Yeah.
3 teams in this division made the postseason.
I mean, it's got to be the Cubs, right? I mean, they keep investing money into their program now. Shohei coming back, I don't know that they necessarily thought that was going to happen. But beyond that, I think that the Cubs are a team that they feel like they're on the come. They've got some good young players. Pete Crow Armstrong had an amazing rookie season. I know they're losing Kyle Tucker, but I don't know that Kyle Tucker was ever really a fit in Chicago. He's a good bat and everything, but he'll probably wind up in the, with LA, like everyone who's got a, free agent contract. And, the Dodgers are a team that can afford to pay all of that, but they've got a good farm system. I do still think they've got a good manager. I know Brewers fans may chafe at that a little bit, but I think that, Craig Counsell is there and had a lot of success in Milwaukee, had some success in Chicago, got them to the postseason this year. I think the world of Terry Francona in Cincinnati. He was their best offseason acquisition, and he really willed that team and helped will that team into a postseason berth. They had an amazing last 6 weeks of the year. So, kudos to them as well. But if you're looking at one team that Brewers fans should be, quote, concerned about, I'm still saying it's going to be the Cubs, because they've got deeper pockets than anyone else in the division as well, and they can go out and spend more money than anybody else in the division as well. So it's just something to keep in mind.
Did you see one voter gave Counsell higher votes than Murphy for manager of the year? One voter did that.
Somebody didn't vote for Hank Aaron for the Hall of Fame, right? Somebody didn't vote for, let's see, who's the only, Mariano Rivera, I think, is the only unanimous selection, maybe Ken Griffey. But Ichiro didn't. Who didn't vote for Ichiro for the Hall of Fame this past year? So there's always that Yahoo. There's always some outlier. There's always someone who wants to either make a point or, just kind of be that guy, or somebody who probably just doesn't know baseball. That's kind of what you can sometimes check it up to as well.
Sure. All right. Going to be a fun off season. Russ, have yourself a great holiday. A couple of holidays here.
Yeah, a couple of them coming up.
Yeah. We'll catch up with you here in the off season. Get your take on a few things, man. We'll have yourself a good time, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Look forward to it. Thanks for having me on, Chuck.
Doug Russell from the Game Sports Director does a terrific job. Appreciate him coming on here on Locked On Brewers. Have yourself a great week, everybody, and a great Monday. My name is Chuck Freimund. Locked On Brewers, the number one podcast network out there regarding sports. Locked On Network, number one for all your sports all across the platform. It is Locked On Brewers. You get us on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcast, and of course on YouTube. Locked On Brewers on YouTube as well. Talk to you later, everybody.